A massive red bow sits on top, probably worth more than anything they've ever spent on my Christmas combined. Across from it, I stare down at what sits in my lap, a plastic piggy bank shaped like a character from a kid's cartoon I stopped watching 25 years ago. The price tag they forgot to peel off still says $1.99. Go on. Open it, Mom urges, motioning toward the rubber plug on the bottom. My fingers feel wooden as I obey. Two crisp $1 bills slip out like a bad joke. It's the start of your future home savings, sweetheart, Dad declares with a lazy flick of his hand. You've always been careful with money, not like certain people. He aims a wink at Chelsea, who pretends to huff. The silence stretches thin and sticky until Mom cuts through it. Chelsea needs dependable transportation for her new graphic design clients. Those creative folks expect a certain image, you know? Chelsea plops onto the couch beside me, her expensive perfume instantly overrunning my breathing space. Don't stress, sis. I'll chauffeur you anytime. She pats my knee with exaggerated kindness. Your little Toyota must be about done for, right? The Toyota that hauled me through 7 hours of mountain curves yesterday. The Toyota I paid off myself 3 years back. The Toyota that's more trustworthy than any relationship under this roof. I can't inhale properly. 34 years of moments like this one snap into sharp focus. This isn't unusual. It's the blueprint of my entire life. Just this morning, I had carefully wrapped their gifts. The leather briefcase for Dad that cost me half a month's pay, the silver bracelet Mom admired in that Seattle shop window, the professional camera lens Chelsea mentioned wanting, each one bought by trimming a little from every paycheck for months. I'd practiced my announcement the entire drive from Seattle. Senior structural engineer. The promotion I bled nights and weekends for, designing buildings meant to outlast us all. I pictured their faces lighting up. Seeing me, finally, as something beyond Chelsea's responsible older sister. Maybe this Christmas will actually be different, I whispered through every rest stop, every gas pump, every mile marker. My hands tremble as I set the piggy bank on the coffee table, the cheap plastic knocking hollowly against the glass. Excuse me, I manage, my voice unrecognizable. Bathroom. I walk, don't run, up the familiar stairs, passing the wall of family photos where Chelsea's face dominates every memory. The bathroom door shuts with a soft click, and I lock it. My reflection meets me with dry eyes and a face that looks too controlled. I brace my palms against the cold marble counter, waiting for tears that refuse to come. The pressure climbs instead, like cement setting around my ribs. People talk about heartbreak like it's metaphorical. It isn't. I feel each chamber of my heart squeezing painfully, my blood struggling through tightening vessels. My sternum throbs as if someone is leaning their weight onto it. So this is what dying feels like, I think. Not dramatic, just disappearing. The night drags on endlessly as I lie awake in my childhood bedroom, listening to Chelsea laughing downstairs with my parents as they map out her first road trip with a new car. At 2:17 a.m., I finally rise. I pack quickly, taking only what matters: the worn stuffed bear from my grandmother, my college photo album, the wooden box holding my first professional blueprint. The expensive gifts I've given them through the years remain behind. They were never about appreciation, anyway. The house is still as I carry my suitcase downstairs. My house key sits cold in my hand before I place it on the kitchen counter beside the coffee maker set to brew in 3 hours. They've made their choice. Now I make mine. Streetlights smear into watery rings as I navigate the empty highway. The dashboard glows 3:42 a.m., Christmas morning. My wipers fight thickening snow, while Bing Crosby sings about white Christmases. I twist the knob until the music dies. Have yourself a merry little Christmas, I whisper to the bare passenger seat, my voice cracking on the word merry. The irony burns on the way down. Passing through the southern edges of Portland, my Toyota's heater strains against the winter cold. 7 years old, 200,000 miles. This car got me through college, my first jobs, my milestones. It never complained about mountains or cramped parking lots. Unlike the shiny BMW in my parents' driveway, wrapped in that absurd red bow, my car has earned its place beside me. Around 6, My phone buzzes against the console. Mom's face flashes on the screen. Not are you safe? Not please come home. Just, did you remember to pay the electric bill for the cabin before you left Seattle? The cabin they bought for weekend escapes that Chelsea mostly uses for Instagram shoots. A semi-truck roars past, splashing slush onto my windshield. For 3 long seconds, I'm driving blind until the wipers clear a window. My hands shake against the wheel as memories slam into me faster than the wipers can swipe them away. 5th birthday. Chelsea's princess party. Professional decor, pony rides, castle cake, 30 neighborhood kids. My celebration the next year. Grocery store sheet cake, 2 kindergarten friends, dollar bin decorations. Your sister needs the social stimulation, Dad said when I asked why. You're more independent. Independent. Their polite way of saying you don't need us. High school graduation. Valedictorian. My speech about persistence and dreams. Empty seats where my family should have been, because Chelsea's JV soccer team had an away
game.
We'll watch the recording, Mom insisted. The VHS tape sat untouched on my dresser until the day I left for college. Your sister needs encouragement, she said. You always manage fine without us. Without help. There's shorthand for you're on your own. Highway markers blur past as the college years replay in my memory, while the miles shrink toward the California border. Working 25-hour weeks at the campus bookstore and cafeteria. Loading my schedule to the brim so I could graduate early. Stretching loans and scholarships thin while Chelsea wandered Europe finding her artistic voice, funded entirely by our parents. Your sister needs room to discover herself, Dad defended during one of our rare conversations. You've always known exactly who you are. Known who I am. Their coded way of saying you don't deserve exploration. My phone buzzes again. Dad this time. I let it ring until voicemail grabs it. A faint line of sunrise cracks open the horizon as tears smear the oncoming headlights into gold ribbons. I pull to the shoulder, hazard lights flickering, and rest my forehead against the steering wheel. The pattern snaps into perfect focus. Dad holding the purse strings tight, denying me while indulging Chelsea without limits. Mom pulling emotional levers, twisting guilt until wanting anything felt selfish. A flawless system. One parent managing financial favoritism, the other securing emotional obedience. My phone rings again. Not family this time. Monica Perez, my former roommate and the closest thing to real family I've ever had. Where are you? Her voice, warm and protective, fills the car via Bluetooth. Somewhere in Southern Oregon. I hear myself answer, hollow and unfamiliar. Heading south. To where? I don't know. The line goes quiet for a breath. Then, come to San Francisco.
Stay with me.
Real family doesn't treat you like this. Monica knows. She witnessed everything back in college. The practical care packages addressed to me while Chelsea received designer wardrobes. The holiday breaks I spent alone in dorms because flights home were too expensive. The same years my parents whisked Chelsea off to Aspen and Maui. I can't intrude. Stop, Monica cuts in, firm. You've spent your whole life giving. Let someone give to you. The words hit something deep. Help. A tiny word, unfamiliar in my family's vocabulary. Help flowed one direction, to Chelsea. To my parents.
Never toward me.
Okay, I whisper, startling myself. Text me every hour. Drive safe. I'll set up the guest room. The call ends. I merge back onto the highway. Wipers sweeping away the fresh snowfall. For the first time since Portland, my shoulders loosen from their clenched position. By 7:30 a.m., I roll past the California state line. The Welcome to California sign shines in new sunlight. My phone screen shows 17 missed calls, 32 texts. With slow, deliberate taps, I mute notifications from Mom, Dad, and Chelsea. The silence feels heavier than any accusation. My stomach twists with hunger. I haven't eaten since the previous night's Christmas Eve dinner. A tiny roadside diner appears ahead, its neon open sign glowing like a promise. I pull into the quiet lot. Inside, warmth folds around me like a blanket. Coffee steam, the crackle of a grill somewhere in the back. An older waitress with silver-streaked hair approaches, coffee pot in hand. "Rough night?" she asks, filling my cup without waiting. Her name tag reads Gloria. "Rough life," I mutter, instantly embarrassed by the drama of it. Gloria doesn't blink. "Honey, I've poured coffee for 40 years. I know heartbreak when it walks in, family or partner."
Family.
She nods, sliding a menu toward me. "Blood makes you related. Love and respect make you family." Her weathered hand rests gently on mine. "The special's good today. Comes with extra bacon." I order the special, wrapping my chilled hands around the warm mug. Gloria's words echo while I watch snowflakes melt onto the window pane. "Blood makes you related. Love and respect make you family." For 34 years, I've been related to the Collinses. Maybe it's time to learn what belonging to a real family feels like. 3 weeks later, I'm in San Francisco with Monica. My phone buzzes against the nightstand for the 13th time this morning. Dad's number. Again. I inhale, count to 10, silence it, and add it to the graveyard of unread voicemails. Week 1, their messages were confused. Week 2, concerned. Now, week 3, they've morphed into something darker. Manipulation dressed in parental authority. Iris Elizabeth Collins. Dad booms in the latest voicemail when I finally check it. "If you don't bring that car back immediately, I'll report it stolen." This nonsense has gone on long enough.
The car.
My car. The Toyota titled in my name, paid off with 7 years of my own labor. I clutch a throw pillow, fighting down the acid rising in my throat. Mom's message follows. "The doctor says my blood pressure is dangerously high because of the stress you're putting me through. Is that what you want? For me to end up hospitalized because you're being selfish?" I delete them both, though my finger lingers longer than I'd like to admit. Monica's guest room feels both soothing and unfamiliar. The terracotta walls catch the morning light, warming the space in ways my Seattle apartment never managed. On the dresser, my laptop displays an email I've rewritten 14 times. "Dear Mr. Sanderson. Dear Mr. Sanderson. I'm writing to formally request a transfer to the San Francisco office, effective immediately." Before I can second-guess myself, I hit send. No family influence.
No strings pulled.
Just my credentials. My reputation. My worth as a structural engineer. 3 hours later, approval lands in my inbox.
Just like that.
As if I've always been capable of charting my own course. "You got it." Monica leans against the doorway, reading my expression. Her curls frame a face filled with genuine joy for me. The concept still feels strange. Someone celebrating my success without turning it into a commentary about themselves. I start Monday. I confirm. Now I just have to find a place. Monica beams. Already called Andrea for my book club. She manages apartments in the Mission District. Rent-controlled. Safe building. 20-minute walk from your new job. "You didn't have to." "I wanted to," she interrupts, dropping onto the bed beside me. "Friends help friends."
No hidden debts. No layer.
A concept so foreign, it hits me squarely.
No strings. No expectations. No quiet tally marks.
The tears I've been suppressing for 3 weeks press hard behind my eyes. "I made you an appointment too," she adds, sliding a card toward me. "Dr. Levine. Tuesday at 4. The card reads Elaine Levine, PhD, Family Therapy. "I'm not broken," I whisper.
No, Monica agrees gently.
"But you've carried a heavy load for a very long time. It might help to set it down somewhere safe." On Tuesday, the therapist's office smells like lemon polish and aging novels. Dr. Levine has reading glasses on a beaded chain and soft-soled shoes that make no sound on the carpet. She doesn't rush me. She simply waits, giving space to words I've never dared to voice. "Favoritism," I finally say. The word sits between us like a newly discovered continent. "My entire life." "And how did that make you feel?" she asks. "Like I was worth exactly $2, I reply. Later that week, Andrea shows me an apartment, just 650 square feet, with a kitchenette barely wide enough for a fridge. But the windows face west, catching late-day sun that spreads gold across the hardwood. It's mine by dusk. I buy a futon, a lamp, a small desk. Nothing extra. The sparseness feels intentional, not lacking. Room to become someone else. On Saturday, Monica drags me to a community center. Pottery class, she declares. You need something that isn't work or therapy. I resist, until my hands sink into cold clay, soft yet stubborn beneath my palms. The instructor, a woman with silver hair and paint-splattered overalls, steps behind me. Don't force it, she murmurs. Listen to what it wants to be. My fingers tremble as I coax something from nothing. By the end, I've made a small, uneven bowl, crooked, flawed, and entirely mine. The first video call comes 4 weeks after Christmas. I answer on the third ring, bracing myself against the familiar sting of guilt their faces always trigger. Where have you been? Dad snaps immediately, his face red with outrage. Your mother has been sick with worry. Behind him, Mom dabs theatrically at perfectly dry eyes. San Francisco. I say evenly. I transferred offices. Without discussing it with us first? Mom demands, lunging into view. How could you be so selfish? The old tug rises, apologize, soothe, repair. But Dr. Levine's voice echoes. Your feelings are valid. Their reactions are theirs to manage. I needed space, I say. Space from what? Dad barks. From family? From responsibility? From adulthood? From feeling invisible, I answer, surprised by my own calm. From being valued less than Chelsea. From trying to earn affection that should have been unconditional. Mom's tears appear instantly, perfectly timed. How can you say such horrible things? We've always loved you equally. I'm not responsible for your emotions anymore, I tell her softly. The words feel like stones I've carried in my mouth for decades, finally falling free. I'm responsible for mine. Dad slams his palm on the table. This conversation is over until you decide to apologize. Then I guess we're done here, I say, and end the call. In the days that follow, rumors reach me through LinkedIn. Messages and old coworkers. According to family gossip, I've had a breakdown. I'm living in filth. I've joined a cult. Chelsea's Instagram shows her looking mournful in softly filtered lighting, posting cryptic captions about family heartbreak and praying for those struggling. My new colleagues know none of this. They see my work, precise calculations, inventive solutions.
Just me.
10 days later, Chelsea appears unannounced in the office lobby. Monica happens to be dropping off lunch. She's in a meeting, Monica tells her coolly, and she'll stay in meetings for any uninvited visitors. My therapy group meets Wednesday nights in a church basement smelling of coffee and old hymnals. 8 strangers bonded by similar bruises. Family doesn't earn immunity just because they're family, says Raymond, a 60-year-old accountant who hasn't spoken to his brother in 2 decades. Love without respect isn't love. It's ownership. The words settle in me like truth finding its home. 6 months after Christmas, my apartment has changed. Pottery pieces line the windowsills, each more refined than the last. A real bed replaces the futon. The promotion to senior project manager brought a raise that quieted the last lingering financial fear. On my bookshelf sits the plastic piggy bank. I've filled it with crisp $2 bills, one for each week of freedom, not out of spite but as a marker. A reminder that the smallest betrayals sometimes expose the biggest truths. As the holiday season approaches, I feel both dread and relief. No obligatory presents destined to be ignored.
No performances.
No shrinking myself to fit a role. Just me, in a life I'm building. Worth infinitely more than $2. A month later, an ivory envelope sits on my kitchen counter like a dormant bomb. 3 days it's been untouched. Cousin Vanessa's wedding invitation. My name written in sweeping calligraphy, Iris Collins. No +1. Just me. Expected to re-enter the fold alone. So, what are you thinking? Dr. Winters asks, leaning forward in her chair. I run my finger along the armrest's brass tacks, counting each one. I'm going, I say. Her eyebrows lift. That's different from last week. On my terms, I add quickly. I booked a room at the Hilton 4 blocks from the venue. Dad called twice, insisting I stay at their rental with the rest of them. And what did you say? Nothing. I smile, savoring the memory of letting his voicemail fill with increasingly desperate the phone keeps buzzing. The boundary is the message. 7 months of therapy has given me the language of self-preservation. 7 months since Christmas sent me running. 7 months spent piecing myself together one session, one pottery class, one quiet night at a time. During today's appointment, my phone vibrated again.
Chels.
The third text in a single day. Can't wait to see you next weekend. We need sister time before the wedding craziness. I return it to my purse without replying. Dr. Winters notices immediately. Your sister again? Suddenly we're inseparable. I joke, though the sound rings thin. She never texted half this much when we lived in the same zip code. What do you think she wants? A chauffeur from the airport. A handout. The old version of me who hauled her emotions along with her suitcases. My fingers skim the fabric swatch draped over my knee, deep midnight silk for the custom dress I ordered. 3 fittings to make sure it falls cleanly from my shoulders. Traces my curves without apology. A color chosen for strength, not reunion. They've deployed flying monkeys, I tell Dr. Winters. Uncle Pete phoned last night to preach about family unity. Aunt Judith emailed a sermon about divine forgiveness. Even Vanessa's fiancé sent me a Facebook message. They're coordinating. And how does that make you feel? Before therapy, I would have said fine. Always fine. Instead, I mapped the sensations in my body. The pressure in my throat, the damp chill at my hairline, the faint shaking in my hands. Terrified, I admit, but also ready. That evening, I spread the seating chart Vanessa mistakenly attached to a group email across my table. There I am, wedged between my parents, directly opposite Chelsea. The family tableau restored. I pick up my phone. Vanessa? It's Iris. I need a small favor regarding the seating plan. Friday arrives wrapped in San Francisco fog that dissolves as the plane lifts. The clouds break somewhere beyond Oregon, uncovering the terrain of my childhood. My pulse quickens as we descend into Portland. The rehearsal dinner venue glows warm against the dusk. I stand outside for a moment, thumb brushing the smooth stone pendant Monica slipped into my hand before I left. Courage isn't the absence of fear, she'd said. It's feeling it and moving anyway. I lift my chin and push open the heavy door. Conversation halts midline. Faces shift toward me. My mother's fingers rise to her throat. My father's drink stops halfway up. I've changed. The Iris who fled at Christmas was a ghost. This woman, in tailored black trousers, emerald blouse, and heels that announce each step, is solid, present. The diamond studs in my ears flash as my gaze sweeps the room, offering nods without rushing. Chelsea reaches me first, arms wide. Though something is off. The luxury watch is missing, the bleach in her hair has grown out. Her smile is tight rather than smug. You look incredible, she says, hugging me lightly. Thank you. I step back, holding the new distance. How's the BMW? Her eyes flick away. I had to trade it. Got a Honda, more sensible, right? Beyond her, my parents confer with Aunt Martha. Mother dabs at her eyes with a napkin. Father's shoulders sag in a way I've never seen. Cousin Tara slips to my side, drink in hand. God, I'm so glad you're here, she whispers. You wouldn't believe the chaos since Christmas. Oh, and your parents are selling the house. She leans closer. Medical bills, they claim, but everyone knows they've been bankrolling Chelsea for years. Reality finally collected its debt. Before I respond, a server passes with champagne. I take a glass, watching bubbles climb then burst. Just like family myths, what rises eventually pops. Uncle Simon arrives, gripping my hand. You look well, Iris. That job in San Francisco must suit you. Senior project manager now, I say, still tasting the words. His eyebrows lift. Seriously? That's fantastic. More relatives drift toward me as the night unfolds. Cousin Michael admits he always noticed the unequal treatment. Aunt Martha hugs me too tightly and murmurs, Your father lost his job 3 months back. Your mom's on anxiety meds. I take in each revelation with the calm of someone watching tides hit a shore they no longer inhabit. My father corners me during cocktail hour, bourbon thick on his breath. Family sticks together, Iris. His voice tries for the old authority, but something hollow rattles beneath it. Always. No matter what.
Does it?
I ask, meeting his stare steadily. Or do some people stick together while others get pushed aside? His face reddens.
We've always supported you.
$2 in a piggy bank. The words are soft, but they strike with accuracy. That was your idea of support. He starts to speak, stops, and walks away. In the restroom, my mother appears at the sink beside me, eyes watery. We miss you so much, she whispers, reaching out. I keep washing my hands, the soap slick against my palms. I miss who I imagined you were. Back in the main room, Chelsea steers me to the terrace. The night air carries the scent of roses drifting up from the garden. The BMW got repossessed, she blurts. I'm drowning in debt. Clients vanished. Dad can't help anymore. Her voice breaks.
I don't know how to handle this, Iris.
I never learned how to stand without someone holding me up. The confession lingers between us. 7 months ago, I would have rushed to solve her problems, offer money, offer space, offer myself. The old Iris would have taken on this weight, too. Instead, I rest a gentle hand on her arm. That sounds incredibly hard, Chelsea. I feel compassion without obligation, a line therapy taught me to draw. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Her eyes widen, startled by what she hears. Concern without rescue. I can help you make a budget, I offer. But I can't fix this for you. Over her shoulder, I glimpse Vanessa, radiant in pre-wedding glow, flanked by bridesmaids. Tomorrow will bring its own trials. But tonight, on this terrace, feeling the weight of family expectations slip off like water, I realize I am no longer afraid. I am the woman who walked away from a lifetime of diminishment, who built a life from the ground up. Whatever comes next, I will meet it firmly on the foundation I made. The next morning, I stand in the Magnolia Gardens bridal suite, watching Vanessa transform from anxious bride to luminous woman. Morning sunlight streams through tall windows, bathing everything in a golden calm that contrasts with the storm in my chest. Iris, your parents are looking for you, Aunt Martha whispers, fingers resting gently on my forearm. They're in the library. Said it's urgent. I knew this moment would come. 7 months since I left their Portland house, leaving only a note and a lifetime of resentment behind. Thanks, Martha. I say, my voice calmer than I feel. I'll find them after I help Vanessa with her veil. Her eyes soften. They mentioned a family emergency before the ceremony. Of course they did. 30 minutes later, the library door feels impossibly heavy as I push it open. Mom sits upright in a high-back chair, tissues clutched. Dad paces by the fireplace, every step sharp and measured. Chelsea stands by the window in a dress pricier than my first month's rent in San Francisco, the repossessed BMW nowhere in sight. Iris, thank God. Mom rises, arms outstretched. We need to talk as a family. I linger in the doorway. The ceremony begins in 40 minutes. Sit down. Iris. Dad gestures to an empty chair facing them.
À stage d'intervention.
This can't wait. I close the door, but don't move forward. I listen. Chelsea steps toward me. Iris, this has gone far enough. Dad lost his job 3 months ago. The company downsized. Dad interjects quickly. Budget cuts. Mom's therapy, Chelsea continues. This all started when you left at Christmas. Mom dabs dry eyes. We're selling the house. 7 months ago, I would have crumbled, apologized for nothing, and offered solutions. Today, I walk to the chair, set my purse beside it, sit upright. I'm sorry about your job, Dad. And Mom, I'm glad you're getting help. Confusion flickers across their faces. Didn't you hear what we said? Chelsea's voice rises. They're selling the house because of you.
No, y respon.
They're selling the house because of decisions made long before I left. I pull a leather-bound photo album from my purse. I brought something to show you. Mom frowns. We don't have time for. You called this meeting. I open the album across my lap. So, we have time. First pages. 2 birthday parties side by side. Chelsea's elaborate princess theme with entertainers. Mine. A grocery store cake at the kitchen table. I flip through Christmas mornings, graduations, vacations. Patterns of favoritism unmistakable. Months of evidence for what I always felt but couldn't prove. Dad flushes. This is ridiculous. We always treated you both equally. I produce a folder of bank statements. My student loans, $67,000 still unpaid. Chelsea's education, fully funded, including Europe for art.
Chelsea shifts.
That's not fair. You chose engineering. It was my passion, I correct. As art was yours. But my passion wasn't deemed worth investing in. Mom rises, hands shaking. We didn't have the money for you then. Things changed by the time, Chelsea. I know your financial records, Mom. I cut in. Dad's promotion came when I was 16. Grandma's inheritance arrived before. Freshman year. You had the money. You chose not to spend it on me. The room grows silent as I lay out birthday cards spanning 30 years. Messages to Chelsea overflow with love. Mine, practical advice. We always knew you'd be fine, Dad says, voice cracking. You were always so capable. There it is. Truth beneath decades of inequity. Being capable didn't mean I deserved less love. Being responsible didn't mean I should bear everyone else's burdens. Mom collapses into real, not performative tears. We never meant to hurt you. Intent doesn't erase impact. I reach into my purse one last time. The plastic piggy bank thuds onto the coffee table. Dad stares. What is this nonsense? I remove the rubber stopper. Dozens of crisp $2 bills spill out. Unusual currency that catches the eye. I've saved one for every week since Christmas. I explain. This isn't about money. It's about what you thought I was worth. Chelsea lifts a bill, inspecting it. I never realized how it looked from your side, she says, voice stripped of its usual defensiveness. They never taught me to stand on my own, I reply. Outside the library, relatives drift past, voices drifting through the heavy door. Soon, they will gather to celebrate love while our family confronts decades of its absence. I don't want apologies. I stand. I want change. I'll consider reconciliation, I add, under 2 conditions: family therapy and respect for my boundaries. If you want, I can combine all 4 rewritten parts into a polished single version, keeping all continuity and pacing perfect for reading as a full story. This makes it ready to submit or use in any format. Do you want me to do that? Dad opens his mouth to argue, but Mom rests her hand on his arm. We'll do it, she says, surprising everyone. Whatever it takes. I gather my evidence and the piggy bank, but leave its contents on the table. That's yours to keep, I tell them. A reminder of what happens when you value one child over another. Walking toward the door, hand on the knob, I pause. I need to take my seat for the ceremony. Monica has saved me a place. As I step into the hallway, back straight, heart lighter than it has been in months, I hear Chelsea whisper to our parents, she's different now. She's right. The woman who left that Christmas morning carrying only grief and resolution is gone. In her place stands someone who finally understands that her worth isn't measured by what others think she deserves, but by what she refuses to accept. On Christmas, sunshine spills across the hardwood floors of my San Francisco apartment as friends gather around a table that truly belongs to me. The scent of rosemary and sage from the roasting turkey mingles with laughter, real laughter, not the strained echoes that once filled my parents' house. To Iris, Monica raises her glass, dark curls catching the window light. Who builds bridges better than anyone I know, at work and in life? My cheeks warm at the toast. 1 year ago, I left a house key on a counter and drove away from everything familiar. Now I stand in an apartment filled with people who choose to be here, surrounded by pottery I made with my own hands. And to Senior Project Manager Collins, adds Elliot, brushing his fingers against mine under the table, His touch still sends a quiet electricity through me, not the flash of infatuation, but the steady current of something building toward permanence. Whose team finished the Richardson Tower project 2 weeks early? Elliot. He understands deadlines, structural integrity, and sustainability in both buildings and relationships. When he first asked me to coffee 6 months ago, I nearly declined. Old habits of self-sacrifice die hard. Dr. Winters called it progress when I said yes. The kitchen timer chimes, saving me from needing to acknowledge their praise. Some changes take longer than others. Need help? Elliot asks, following me into the kitchen. I've got it. I reply automatic. Another. Walking toward the door, hand on the knob, I pause. I need to take my seat for the ceremony. Monica has saved me a place. As I step into the hallway, back straight, heart lighter than it has been in months, I hear Chelsea whisper to our parents, she's different now. She's right. The woman who left that Christmas morning carrying only grief and resolution is gone. In her place stands someone who finally understands that her worth isn't measured by what others think she deserves, but by what she refuses to accept. On Christmas, sunshine spills across the hardwood floors of my San Francisco apartment as friends gather around a table that truly belongs to me. The scent of rosemary and sage from the roasting turkey mingles with laughter, real laughter, not the strained echoes that once filled my parents' house. To Iris, Monica raises her glass, dark curls catching the window light. Who builds bridges better than anyone I know, at work and in life? My cheeks warm at the toast. 1 year ago, I left a house key on a counter and drove away from everything familiar. Now I stand in an apartment filled with people who choose to be here, surrounded by pottery I made with my own hands. And to Senior Project Manager Collins, adds Elliot, brushing his fingers against mine under the table. His touch still sends a quiet electricity through me, not the flash of infatuation, but the steady current of something building toward permanence. Whose team finished the Richardson Tower project 2 weeks early? Elliot. He understands deadlines, structural integrity, and sustainability in both buildings and relationships. When he first asked me to coffee 6 months ago, I nearly declined. Old habits of self-sacrifice die hard. Dr. Winters called it progress when I said yes. The kitchen timer chimes, saving me from needing to acknowledge their praise. Some changes take longer than others. Need help? Elliot asks, following me into the kitchen. I've got it. I reply automatic. Before me, city lights reflecting on dark water. Buildings I helped design stand in silhouette against the night sky. Worth isn't something you earn by usefulness, I whisper to the lights. It's something you claim by knowing what you will and won't accept. Elliot joins me, wrapping a blanket around my shoulders against the December chill. Deep thoughts. Just grateful, I answer, leaning into his warmth. Sometimes the greatest gift is realizing what you won't accept anymore. The piggy bank glints through the window, no longer a symbol of what I lacked, but of the courage I found to value myself first. If you want, I can now merge all 4 rewritten parts into a seamless single manuscript, ready to read or submit, keeping pacing, voice, and length consistent throughout. Do you want me to do that?